We are going to have a conversation this hour about the campaigns as we see them. We have seen the use of social media and digital platforms in campaigns. There have been all this talk of use of social media to spread misinformation and disinformation during campaigns, use of social media to spread hate speech, use of social media to spread negative conversations, but also use of social media to actually basically campaign for yourself, for your candidate. Where do we draw the line? At what point do we know, okay, now this is good, now this is crossing the line? This is, there are those that are pretty obvious that you're crossing the line, but then there are others that are not pretty obvious that you're crossing the line. That's a conversation we'll be having, but we've got to remind everybody, including the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, that he advised the President that come March, the expressway will be complete. And in fact, not just the expressway, but the section between Machakos Junction, which is being expanded into dual carriageway up to the Kitengela Junction on Ombaso Road, and then the expressway from Lolongo up to ABC Place, and then there's a construction of a road from ABC Place in Westlands up to Rironi, that is Maimahiu Junction.
Okay.
Dual carriageway.
So I
like
gotta
this.
tell you, this junction from Machakos, the Machakos Junction,
Yes.
heading in this westerly
coming-
direction,
Yes.
is nowhere near complete. Nowhere. Dual carriageway? No. Who are we reminding again?
See the CS who told the President.
Well, so we're reminding him that this needs to be done by the end of March. Today being the 7th of March. So, March can fall anywhere between the 1st and 31st in terms of those days. But if we're saying in the next 3 weeks, then I'm inclined to actually start to agree with CT of the things that he's been saying for the past couple of weeks.
There's an
That
interchange
it is
on that
not
road.
going to happen. I
There's
don't
an
think we can
interchange
even-
at Daystar. All right, they have put up some bridge. It's incomplete.
It's not complete.
They walked away. There's an interchange near Daystar University.
Lucania.
Okay, at Lucania.
Yes.
There's another interchange at Green Park Estate that is being constructed for
Something is happening.
something, not complete. There's another interchange into Mavoko at the Mavoko Law Courts. This is a place where people call Devki, near the Devki steel mills. There's an interchange there that's being constructed. Nowhere near
Another
complete.
jungle.
There's a bridge, a second bridge on Athi River. The bridge is up. The road to the bridge, from the bridge, nowhere near complete. This project was launched by the President before he started campaigning for re-election in 2017. Nowhere near complete. ABC Place to Rironi. This is the Maimahiu Junction. It is all over.
3 weeks.
Not complete. This expressway, go to Mlolongo, where the expressway starts. You don't know where the expressway is supposed to
Don't know where
start.
it is.
Yes, but the President, when he was inspecting the expressway in December, on the 23rd of December, to be specific, this is what he said.
And I am confident that with the kind of speed that they are moving at, the indicated date of March for completion of this road is bound to be met. And I will be very proud to be able, as Waziri here again has said, to drive all the way from Machakos turnoff, all the way to Rironi, and hopefully at that point launch the road from Rironi to Mau Summit, thereby reducing the gridlock that people have experienced that has added to the cost of doing business in our country.
As Waziri here has said. You keep saying this is on Waziri. City.
It is. Why it is because this man has a background in finance. He was a banker for the longest time. And one of the things that bankers do, they understand costs and they also understand repayments. Okay? There's a cost to building this road. The repayment on it is the road being complete. Okay? That's why it's given a certain length of time. And that's why with the loan, they even give you options. You take this amount, you pay this over this period, meaning what you can. Before the start of this particular road, everything about it from start to completion was understood. And the details were understood. Now, because it's engineering involved, the fulfillment of an engineering plan they knew exactly what it is that they were supposed to do. And believe me, they could even tell you, by this time we'll have completed this. By this time they will have completed this. Now, what I don't understand, the sections that we mentioned, the individual who's financing this road, because we are told it's a PPP, where somebody builds it, and then hopefully when we use it, we will pay. And that's how the money will be repaid. Do I get it right? Oh, precisely. Where does it start? Are there any parts of the road where the government took the responsibility of building? Or does everything that encompasses the highway, is it the sole responsibility of this particular financier or this person who is investing? Because it's an investment. Why do I ask this question? What I started by saying doesn't change. They still know. But there seems to be a problem with what they know and what they're telling the president. Because I am sure the president will say, okay, I want this thing completed quickly. When can it end?
Yep.
Okay? You're a politician, your term is coming to an end. You would really like something of this sort to be completed before your term ends so that someone else doesn't take credit for it. Because that's what people do. This particular government has taken a lot of credit for things that the Kibaki government began. And they're the ones who said, we are the ones. We get it, you've completed it, but we know where it started.
Uh-huh.
The nature of government, that's what always happens. But this is a good plan. It's unique. Now, these individuals, Kenha, and the people who run it, know this. They're engineers. What is this deficit of truth-telling? Why can they call the president aside and tell him, say, you know this one? Kuna vile visisi tumepima hii kitu vile iko.
Itakuwa ngumu kidogo.
Itakuwa ngumu kidogo. In fact, hii March ni March, yes, lakini si March 2022. Ni March 2023. That's when tumemaliza kila kitu. Sasa kuna vile unaweza kueleza wananchi hii. Or maybe that's what they tell the CS. And the CS knows who gave him the job.
So CS tells his boss,
March 2022. The guy's asking, Mzee, we told you 2023. Ati? Where?
wacheni mchezo.
Don't joke here. Let it end in 2023, but I'm telling the president 2022.
The point is here that the president actually comes out and says, you know what? As Waziri has said, I am confident that this project will be completed in March.
Actually,
because the president has said, I am confident.
Actually, I listened to that speech. No, he gives like a waiver. It's not, I'm confident if. There's an if. If you listen to that speech again, the president ifs it many times.
So you think that he also then is playing with the element of doubt that it's possible in his mind that it couldn't be finished?
You think this is the first time he's becoming president? This is the second time he's becoming president. He has gotten this thing. He knows.
He's got a good measure of experience.
Yes.
So, but why say it?
So
why not just say next year we'll complete this
It's
project?
because the very people who are building this road want to make a political statement. It's a beautiful thing.
It's fine,
Yes.
but nobody has actually pushed him to say March.
say it. Nobody's
Actually,
saying
he
if
could
it
just
is
say
not March,
next year.
Yeah.
Actually,
I am
Nobody's saying
confident
that we will die if it's not finished in March. Nobody's saying that.
Actually, they are.
We know the end of his term is September,
Yes.
right? He will hand over, if everything goes smoothly, he will do the sword like this to the next president at Kasarani in September. So we know, everybody knows. Why does he have to say March?
It is.
Why not just say, I'm confident that we now, because I have just pressed the button that has
will finish,
elevated and
period.
placed the final beam on this thing, we will complete this road. And even the other one from Machakos will be complete. The other one to Rironi will be complete. Also, next year, I will launch the other section from Rironi to Mau Summit. Why put a timeline?
Because any smart political leader wants to give his citizens an update of the progress they're making on his plans. It is what politicians do. It's what political leaders do.
But you're setting yourself up.
You're setting yourself up to be stabbed.
It's just
every
3
time.
months, man. It was just 3 months ago. I mean, we've been talking about this because we knew the president is saying March. This is December. He's saying March. It's only 3 months. We can wait.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about it on a daily basis because we can wait.
Yeah,
Here we are.
you guys were waiting. Me, I knew it wasn't going to be finished in March. I knew. And you
this
heard me
is the
say.
thing. And this is the thing, that you make declarations in this manner, whether it is you who is advising the president, whether it is you as the president who's saying a certain thing, you make these declarations, but you know what? Everybody can see. even if you're not an engineer, and the time that you've been given, everybody can see that the chance of this thing being completed at the end of the month is very low. So what you do is that in the glare of public scrutiny, you're making these promises, you're setting yourself up, and you're putting the target on your back. Again, why do that?
I don't get it. And this is something, just like you said, the president is not a novice in politics.
Nope.
Okay?
Nope.
This man has been in politics since the previous century.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
And he has held very senior positions.
And he has held senior positions as an assistant minister, as a minister, minister for finance, as a deputy prime minister, as president.
Yes.
Okay? He knows all these things. He knows how the government works. He knows what you're told and what is reality. He knows all this. He is a politician. In addition to everything else, he's a politician. Lately, the president has basically been coming and putting in timelines. He said in October, by December, power bills down by 33%. They didn't come down by 33%. He said again in the middle of December, by the end of this month, 15%. They didn't come down by 15%.
But at least they came down, surely.
But not by the timeline that he had put. He had
This
said
is by in March
by
again
December,
now.
33%. December comes, nothing like 33%.
But
in the middle of December, he says, by the end of December, 15%. End of December comes, no 15%. Mid-January, some 15%. The other one he said is, by the end of March, we are in March, the other 15%. We are in March. The president himself has said that by the end, come April, what you are paying for your power in November will be 33% cheaper.
But then March, but it's
End
the magic
of
month.
this month.
Magic month of March is now when we will see now that 33% completed, because we're still to go down another 18%. This again, same March, is when we're supposed to see now the last tranche of that 33% coming into actuality.
Why is the president setting himself up?
He's
Every
not.
time.
I don't think he is. You know, there is a complexity that I have come to understand. My understanding may be faulty, but let me just present this faulty understanding that I have. That there are several levels at which this communication we are speaking about comes out and purposed. Let me explain. President asks, we are doing this thing. Minister in charge, where are we? Minister, President, give me a moment. Parastatal in charge, or whoever's in charge, Kenha, how are we doing with this thing? Blah, 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 blah. Are you sure? Positive. Bring the contractor. Are you sure? Yes. That one, for a project such as this one, where you have an external force factor working in, you could more or less even understand when this road can be completed. But when you then have to go into government itself, I have come to believe that when the president of a country makes a sort of statement that our president made and said we are losing 2 billion shillings on a daily basis, what in essence he was telling us is that there are things within my own government that I have no control over. I have tried to get control, but I have no control over. There are sections of the government, there are machineries that seem, in my opinion, they work independent of the president. They work independent even of the CS. They just work. So when people talk about cartels, it's not these individuals whose names keep being mentioned. No. When it comes to government, there is no way you're going to do the things you're doing as a businessman if these people within that system don't agree with what it is you're doing. You on your own as a businessman, you're not going to be able to do it. So my thought, remember I said, chances are it's completely misguided, because I can't see a situation where any president has information other than information that he's given. We have times when the president has gone and cross-checked information, like when the late president, Daniel Arap Moi, was going to be buried, and we were supposed to have a function at
Nyayo Stadium.
Government was working the way it normally works, with the future in mind, okay? And the past ever present, okay? So he takes a drive, realizes this thing's not working, changes. You have a situation where we wanted to rehabilitate 2 railways, Nanyuki Nairobi, Nairobi Kisumu. The usual discussions seem to have taken place, and it took a completely different tangent.
Okay, CT.
Yes.
Going with what you're saying now.
Yes.
Same president
Yes.
took a drive on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
And went to Nyayo National Stadium.
Yes.
And saw that things as he had been told were not happening.
Yes.
a little bird came and whispered in his ear, whatever.
told
Told him, look, Oga, this thing is not happening the way you thought it was supposed to be. So he said, okay, let me go and see for myself. And lo and behold, by the next week, brand spanking new, Nyayo Stadium. All right? Same man. This is not somebody else. Same man can see. So the people come and tell him Expressway will be finished. Why can't it be? Why can't it be that he said, okay, hold on, folks. I can see very well this thing will not be finished in the next 1 month.
He's going to see it.
But
He's going to see it.
I
But
mean,
he was right there
he
on
is
the
speaking
expressway. He
on
was
top
speaking
of the
from the expressway.
Yes. How long ago was this?
In
December.
December,
Yeah, precisely.
on the 23rd.
Okay, folks.
Even then, how much worse was it looking then?
Folks.
And now, because you've given example, CT, same gentleman went and took matters into his own hands, literally, because he could see what you're telling me and what I can see are two totally different things.
Let me give you another example. 5 billion shilling given to Ministry of Health, COVID-related ICU, get well quickly, buy hospital beds, build this. Forget the drama that followed it. Council of Governors.
We are ready.
Not ready. Very few counties have actually been able, but everybody, except these few counties, have actually done what needs to be done. President says, okay, sends his own investigative team. Counties. Not even five had met a basic threshold. Meaning, the money had just done what the money does in the system. What am I saying? I am saying that even with the road, again, I may be misinformed, but let me just speak about my misinformation. The president is going to come up and say, I was misinformed about this road. This road is not going to get completed very soon. From what I've seen here, what I was told then and what I'm now looking at, my thoughts.
Yeah, but at that point, it'll be too late
For?
in public opinion.
For?
For him.
Why?
He'll be trying to recover.
The arrows would already be out.
It's March.
But why is he recovering?
Here we are. We are in March. We are saying, Mr. President, we expect you, as you promised, to drive on this road from Machakos to Rironi this month.
Don't worry, you want to
Now
know.
he comes and says, you know what? And this is again the other issue. You have said it very well. The president consumes a lot of information. The president is one singular person who consumes a lot of information. The president, not Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, the president. As Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, yes, he has his friends, he has people who can tell him this and the other, he can be misguided. But as the president, he has multiple sources of information about the same thing.
He does.
Right?
He does.
So when he's told this by this person, he has powers to actually get information to corroborate what is being told from 3 different other sources.
As we have seen.
So when the president comes to inspect the progress of the expressway in December and he sees it, and he also knows very well the progress of the other parts of the road because he has sources of information, including social media, and then he commits to March. It's the same thing when he was receiving the report from the Ngumi task force and he commits the government to delivering something 33% by December. And then that doesn't happen. And then come December, he comes and changes the story and says, by the end of this month, 15%. It doesn't happen.
Yes. The president has
We
the
are now in
capacity.
March. We are expected to now get to that, the extra 15%, because they even revised and do. It was initially 33%.
Yeah.
When the president was speaking to us on Jamhuri Day
He said
from
30.
Uhuru Gardens, he said 30%.
All right, he did.
15% by the
Yes.
end of December, 15% by end of March. We are in March. By the end of March, we should have the other 15%. If it doesn't happen, again, it's an embarrassment for the president to
I
come
don't think so.
and change the story.
I don't think
Because
so.
he'll do what he does. He will not come and say, you know what, I was misguided.
You say, at least we have
He'll
done
come
this.
and say, you know, we are on course. Same thing he told us in December. Finally, because that was this, finally, I made a promise. And because I made a promise, let me just give you an update. We are on course to achieving the promise that I made.
We are on course.
Even let me give you another example. Big Four agenda. What were we told? Big Four agenda by this time 1, 2, 3 would be done. In 2021, what were we told? Well, you know what we've actually done is that we have laid the foundation for a lot of these things to then be built.
Correct.
Because it was clear, again, these generals to whom you've given the responsibility are giving you a different timeline. They're giving you a different set of conditions now. And so then what you do is you change the language to say, all right, we've built the foundation upon which now these other things will come about and be built. Why? Again, setting yourself up for the constant scrutiny that would come against you, rather than for you to just say, you know what, we're working on it.
And the question
Let's
that we
go.
want to ask, in fact, let's even ask the people, okay, whether they agree with you. 0719-012-600 after this break. Is the president misguided by his advisors, by the people that he has appointed to these positions, or is he part of that misinformation? Does he actually come and make a promise knowing full well that this is impossible, or does he actually believe that it is possible, only that he's been misguided? Let's take a break. We are live on KTN Home, on SpiceFM and online. SpiceFM KE, YouTube and Facebook. This is Kenya's biggest conversation.
And I am confident that with the kind of speed that they are moving at, the indicated date of March for completion of this road is bound to be met. And I will be very proud to be able, as Waziri here again has said, to drive all the way from Machakos turnoff, all the way to Rironi, and hopefully at that point launch the road from Rironi to Mau Summit, thereby reducing the gridlock that people have experienced that has added to the cost of doing business in our country.
Semantics, city.
No, bound. Had he said will be met, certain to be met, bound.
Yes.
Nope, that's hopeful.
Bound is hopeful.
Yes, it is. It's likely. That's what it means.
Our intent is for it to happen.
I am
You
confident.
know what I'm saying is true.
No, I am confident.
He started off
With what
with
Waziri
the
has said,
precursor to everything else that he
That
said
the set
thereafter
completion
was
date
he is confident.
is bound to be met.
Bound, yes, but not certain to be met. Not absolutely definitive to be met. Bound, likely. Look, when the president of a country decides to engage his citizens directly, because this is what's happening, it's direct engagement, not through direct. And every incident and example that I gave, that's a president engaging directly with the people. He will come back and say, that Rironi drive to Machakos and vice versa, not going to happen in March. He'll come back. We will hear it.
We have never had the president come back and say it's not
Come
going
back
to
on
happen.
his word and say that the thing I told you was going to happen is actually not going to happen.
It will
When
happen.
has he said that? Ever. For anything else.
0719-012-600. Is the president being misadvised, misguided? Or is he also aware? When he says this is going to happen, is he aware that it's actually not going to happen? George and Nyeri, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Du and City, how are you?
We are
Fine,
very well, thank you, sir.
How are you?
And before I make my contribution, City,
Yes.
you need to change your looks in these political uncertain times. Unajua the next time tukienda kushika midhika, we might come for you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So dye your beard.
Thank you very much.
You need to do something. Okay, now to the topic.
Yep.
It's not about the president or the CS or Kenha. It's about Jubilee government. You see, it has been built in a series of lies and hopes. Let me call them lies because we are promised things that eventually come, some even may not even happen. And something else, I think we also have a problem with our president. We must admit that. Either he is guided and he decides to take his way, his own way, because something might be wrong somewhere. Because it's not the first instance that we have a problem with the presidential advice team or the president himself. You remember even with the Somali border row, there was still something we couldn't understand. Is the president aware of what we are indulging in, or he just thought that this is the best way? So we have a major problem, and it's in the government itself, the Jubilee government. In 6 months' time, Kamarin Stadium. So it's not the president himself. I think it's the president.
There's something in the water.
Yes. And he knows that we are Kenyans. Na tukiambiwa I will be driving on the expressway, and we are hopeful that the president will do the same. And if he doesn't do what he said, we are still
It's
okay because we are Kenyan.
We live with it. Thank you, George.
Yes. Yeah. Have a nice day.
You too. 0719012600. George is saying it's the presidency. There's something. I mean, promises are not. Put a timeline, and if you don't meet the timeline, it's okay. What is the see? We are in progress.
So I said 33%. See, I gave you 15. So we started.
See, we are doing something. We are doing something about it. Andrew says, concerning presidential statements, let's revisit lifestyle audits, 100%, 100 polygraph machines with operators. Remember that time? Mm-hmm. We're going to conduct a lifestyle audit on all procurement officers. In fact, who were sent home. All of them. What became of that? President says, in 30 days' time, I want a report on KEMSA.
You see, my point exactly.
Which
this is really my point.
Which is what?
The president engaging with the public. And remember...
You people who don't understand timelines and dates and calendars.
There are three things I've said. The things that I don't wish to talk about, I will ignore.
Okay.
There are three things which I said. Okay. One, I said, from an informed perspective, when the president utters these things, it is with consultation and with assurance that it is so.
Okay.
And then he goes and says, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it.
Okay.
Now, he sets it in motion. Then I also said, I have come to understand, perhaps I'm misinformed, but within the structures of what we call government, there are units that function and they're outside the control of the president. Again, my uninformed view, because how else do you explain the president saying something and intending it to be so, and then it is not so, and he is the president?
More than once.
Many times. Many times.
Gibson in Kasarani, good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Yes. My contribution...
Gibson, please switch off your radio.
Yes. I'll switch it off.
Okay.
Yes, my contribution is about the correctness and accuracy of what the president has said. Because from his recent speeches, there has been several inaccuracies. For example, you remember the other day in Sagana when he said that fertilizer prices have gone down.
Yeah.
That was not accurate. You remember his State of the Nation address the other day. There were several facts which were not accurate.
Like which one?
Number one, he said that the economy was growing. I don't know from what number to what number. That was not accurate.
But what are you basing this on?
I'm basing this on for example, when he said we were from number 12 to number 6, I really doubt if that is the case. If you look at the World Bank and the IMF, it is just because a country like Libya, which is the economy of Libya was destroyed, so that made us come a little bit number to move forward with one
so
number.
We are number 6.
But it's not,
But
it's not because of growth.
if I can just jump in, I think that there are certain things that we must then be careful of. Is that to say that if we're going to counter something that has been said, then we should actually have it steeped in facts. In this case, for example, when we've said that the president has said, we will reduce electricity fees by 33%, and we can see that by a certain time it has not been done, then we can say it is clear that has not happened. But if the numbers were given in terms of inflation or world numbers here and there, if we don't have a counter argument based in fact, then it would be difficult to say that somebody is not presenting a true status
All right,
of the
let me
situation.
just take a simple example without many numbers around it.
Okay.
Remember when he said about the KEMSA report, 21 days?
Yep.
Where is the report today?
We're on the 7th day.
Him himself.
Yes.
Maybe the days are not going concurrently. But if you check the president, sometimes we need to differentiate between the president.
So do you think, Gibson,
and the president?
Do you think the president is misadvised? Or do you think the president is part of misadvising the or of misleading the public?
I think the president is misadvised and he never verifies his information to get a second opinion.
Okay. Thank you,
He just
Gibson.
gets a first opinion and he stands with it.
Asante, Gibson. Have a lovely day.
Same to you guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Karanja in Naivasha, good morning.
Good morning, Eric Kidu City.
Good morning.
Yes, let me first of all condemn the previous guy who said that they will come for Muga. In fact, that situation room is a room of it's a clarity. You have clarity. You have a decorum. Somebody cannot say that in a national radio.
Nobody can miss.
Yes, yes. Somebody cannot say situation room. I may say it's a national radio.
It's okay, Karanja. Okay. Let's talk about the president.
Okay, now, I think the president is totally misread. Given the fact that these people who advise the president, I think they live in Mars or Saturn. They don't live where we are living today, because you remember President Kibaki was also misread during the orange and the banana time, during the referendum, that time. You remember?
Yep.
Now, I think the president is totally misread. And whoever is advising the president should take our note at the start, looking forward and see what the Kenyan needs and what we are about to. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you very much, Karanja. Asante sana. We are calling you, we want to hear from you, 0719-012-600, talking about the various pledges that the president has made over time. This particular one, the current one, he said in March, because of the advice that he has received from the CS for transport, from the contractors on the ground, he is confident that the timelines given, that by March, the expressway will be complete. That timeline is bound to be met. And he said he actually is looking forward to driving on this road from Machakos Junction, which has been under construction since 2017, up to the Kitengela Junction, expansion of the road into dual carriageway, get onto the expressway at Mlolongo, terminate in Westlands at ABC Place, get onto the new road also that has been under construction, expansion from ABC Place to Rironi, and that's the Maimahiu Junction. He said, I am actually looking forward to driving on those roads, and on that same day, launch the new project, which is the construction and expansion of the road from Rironi Junction to Mau Summit. Ali in Mombasa.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ali.
How are you, a lady and two gentlemen?
We're fine,
Thank you, Ali.
Quite okay. Just got lost some time.
Yeah, good to have
But
you on the show.
I will put the blame solely on the Minister for Transport, Kenha, and the project managers of these three projects that we've been talking about.
Okay.
They cannot sign a contract without knowing the costs, without knowing the time span, and without knowing anything. When they sign the contract, they always know everything in there. And they give an example of 20% contingency time or contingency fund to make sure if there's up and down over there, they can be allowed to either increase or to reduce the cost of that project.
Okay.
As for the timing, it's the same thing. But unfortunately, in Africa, it's not happening. In somewhere Far East, a minister banned himself because he says there will be a school built and it wasn't built. And he banned himself in the public, calling all the press concerned. Look, I've come here, I want to give you a press conference regarding this school. And at the end of the day, he banned himself.
So Ali,
some
you're saying
others just
the president.
resign.
So you're saying the president is misled.
Misled, totally misled, and the people concerned has to leave so that they can secure and give the credibility to the presidency.
Thank you,
Next
Ali.
time when they are being told to do something, they should think twice.
Thank you, Ali. Rufus in Juja, good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
One thing I want to commend for your show.
Mm-hmm.
At least it is exposing the leaders that we elected.
Mm-hmm.
That it is time we work with our brains, not through our tribal lines or voting through emotions.
Okay.
So about the topic.
Yep.
I think one thing there that our president is misguided by the people who are supposed to tell him the truth on the ground. So they usually hide a lot of things from him.
Mm.
And when he's talking, he talks through the way that those people are feeding him, but not what the situation of the country is.
Mm.
And I think that that is taking our country down the drain.
Okay.
Yeah, because things are not happening.
And they're wrong. Thank you very much, Rufus. Eric in Upper Hill, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, good situation team?
We're fine, thank you.
Fine, thank you.
I usually tell people from around 2015, I've never trusted anything that comes from the presidency. Then when COVID happened, I made the mistake of believing what Uhuru told me, and I left work early to go and shop because now we were in lockdown. But I realized after Uhuru speaks, you have to wait for the clarifying statement from relevant ministry or relevant authority. So I'm not sure if Uhuru is the misinformation or he gets fed the misinformation. The only thing I know, anything that comes from his mouth, I give it 2 or 3 days for a clarifying note from the relevant ministry.
You don't take it at face value?
Just wait 48 hours. You'll get the right picture.
Hey, that's a tough one. And actually, thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.
It reminds us of, yes, those times when the president has come out during COVID and has announced these are the measures that we're going to implement within the next couple of hours. Flights grounded. Train grounded. Curfew starting from this time. These counties are declared a disease zone, so no in, no out. And then it's a flurry of activity. Next, clarification. Actually, flights have until such time to operate. Then the train, it's okay. It can operate.
Yes, a pragmatic president will understand how it is you present a palatable picture when you know that your underlings, I'm using the word underling here deliberately, have cocked up.
Okay.
So you realize, you ask, hey, buenos dias, this thing, this is what you're saying. Okay. At some level, he knows that this thing may not quite work. But how do you, as a president, present your CSs or people who are in charge as incompetent buffoons who don't know what they're doing? No, you don't.
Well, maybe you show that you are in charge. Where, if they are, they are. If that is the case, that they're giving you false information, that they're doing they're not even doing within the lines that you have drawn for them. And if they are fulfilling that description that you've given, why not just call them out and say, yes, incompetent buffoons have given me this date, and it's clear that it's not going to happen.
That is calling yourself an incompetent buffoon as well.
No. How many times have we said that he may not necessarily be in control of things because the people who are doing these things are not him, that there are others, that in the presence of the CS, he said 1, 2, 3, based on information that I have been given, I am therefore confident. Now you can see that these individuals clearly are giving you a false picture of what it really looks like. Call them out and say, these folks are not doing what they ought to do. If you ask me, it gives you a leg up.
Really?
Yes.
And why did you appoint them then?
You see, if somebody is incompetent in an organization, that doesn't fall on the CEO or the HR director.
Oh, yes, it does.
You say, why did you hire this person? Because they're displaying incompetence.
Yes,
that is why you have these periodic reviews of performance. If you have periodic reviews of performance and then somebody does not perform, somebody underperforms, you deal with them at that point. It's them. They leave. It's not the CEO.
You call them out or you give
but
them
if the
a period within
CEO
which to
keeps the
improve.
person who is clearly underperforming in office, then it's a CEO.
You have heard what I have said.
Yeah, we have. The whole country has heard what you have said. Has the whole country understood what you're saying? I'm not sure.
Question.
It's 4 minutes to 9. We've been live on KTN Home. We want to say goodbye to that audience, but we are continuing the conversations on Spice FM.